Right. So you think that trans women are women, all this stuff, and like gay, all the sodomy, all that stuff is good. What do you think? I've been having this discussion with people. I think people inherently know that incest is wrong or bestiality is wrong, right? Because it's unnatural. Like any sex that doesn't completely correlate to reproduction is wrong, right? That's what I believe. But I'm wondering what you think about that. You seem like to be okay with all this other, like the LGBT stuff and, mommy doing BBC porn. Do you think that it's morally okay to have sex with an animal?
Personally,
Wow.
I don't really care because we already like,
Oh, shit.
I mean, like we already torture and eat animals, which is probably more fucked up than fucking animal. But I mean, like anybody that fucks an animal probably has a whole bunch of other weird problems going on in their head, I would imagine. Like,
It's okay. Like, should bestiality be legal?
yeah, I don't give a.
Wow.
Do you think that
Okay.
torturing and eating animals should be legal?
I think that you should eat animals the halal way. They should be slaughtered. In Islam, we believe that you should only eat animals that are slaughtered the proper way, where
I'm not talking about slaughtered. I'm talking about like hooking cows up to hormones and drinking milk or pumping things into things to make
no,
them
that's
beefier.
not okay. That's haram.
Okay,
You're
so you
supposed
eat
to
all factory farm and all that stuff.
I'm eating halal meat now. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, at least
So
you're
that's
consistent on
the
it, then.
proper way to eat it, because you need to add some moral to that. You think bestiality is okay, right? Okay. Do you think that incest is morally okay?
The main problem with incest is usually intrafamily dynamics are introducing a whole bunch of bad power stuff that makes it not healthy to pursue. So like older sibling, younger sibling is probably always going to be unhealthy. Parent-child is almost always going to be unhealthy. The issue with incest is that the internal family dynamics make it really hard for anybody to consent to any type of sexual relationship.
But what if we equate your same thing? Like, what if you don't? Because you're saying it doesn't matter about public perception. So if they're both adults, a son
If
and a
you've
mother.
got like two fucking twin brothers that are like 27 and they want to in college, then knock them out. I don't care. Go for it.
Wow. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is when I think atheists don't see that there's a soul involved, and committing these deviant acts starts to remove your soul from your existence. And when you start thinking that everything's okay, just because like you can justify it in a debate or something, there's some things that are just inherently wrong because deep down we know it. I think a lot of people even know this stuff without religion, but these are just wrong without debate, without discussion.
Sure. And
I
I mean,
think
like,
stuff
I
like this, you
understand.
could just point blank period say this is wrong.
Yeah, and I understand you think that, but the problem is at the end of the day, you're not even relying on your actual intuitions. You're going by the weird religious ones. At the very
No,
least,
that's
like,
not even before
Sure,
my
no.
reversion to Islam. I would tell you the same thing.
That's
Like,
fine.
I
On
was an
my-
atheist. Like, I was a Reddit
Yeah.
atheist too, and I would have said the same thing. Like, no, bestiality is wrong, and like, why? It just is. There's
Gotcha.
some things that
Sure.
just
and
are
that's
wrong.
great. That's fine. I would rather use moral intuitions and reasoning to try to avoid harm for people, right? Like you can sit here and be like, "Oh my God, you feel this way about bestiality and incest and blah blah blah." But I think that the way that your movement views women is fucking disgusting. Like it's worse than any amount of doggy fucking or mother son when they're both 30 or 40 years old could ever be, the way that you guys view and treat women. So, but I mean, like you have like your feelings for that, and you think it's all internally justified, and the souls have men over women, blah. Well, that's
Do you
fine.
see how
I mean,
you
that's
just
your thing.
equated men
Wait.
leading
Stop,
in a
stop,
relationship,
stop.
a red pill relationship to bestiality?
Hold on. I'm not equating any. What do you think equating means?
You're comparing it, and you're saying that it's equal and that one
Hold
thing
on.
is worth.
What do you think comparing means? Do you think comparing means equating? Why would you compare two things that are equal?
Fine, maybe that wasn't the perfect word, but it's
No.
insane to me.
It's not the perfect
Oh my
word.
God.
You're pivoting. No. The problem is you can't engage with what I'm
You
saying.
pivoted from bestiality
No,
to red pill
I didn't
relationships.
pivot. I showed you that you feel incredibly comfortable in your moral reasoning because of souls or intuition or whatever. And what I'm saying is I have other moral reasoning that takes that has a huge problem with some things you say about like women. You're sitting here focused on questions that don't really matter. Incest and
Bestiality
animals?
doesn't matter?
No. How many people are animals in the world? No, that doesn't really matter. But things like how we treat women, how
It's
we
not-
set
it's
up
not about-
relationships,
it's not how many
those things
people
are
do it.
way more. No, it is about how many people do it.
it's
That's
not.
way more important.
You know,
Yeah.
it's about the mindset of accepting that and accepting all types of sexual deviance. That's the biggest thing, where we start to accept everything, and then the floodgates open, and then society crumbles.
Sure, and I
if
think
you
there's-
if you think it's okay to have sex with the dog, then everything starts to crumble after that. It's not. You shouldn't even have to bring up statistics. Like, if people start to believe that things like this are okay, everything falls apart.
And it's funny because the thing that has led us into the first world hasn't been the reduction of incest and bestiality. It's been treating women like people. That's been the thing that's moved us into this world. So the ways that we view women and the ways that they move in society have been far more instrumental in getting us to where we are now than strong stances on incest and bestiality. which are niche issues that very few people actually care about.
No, the difference is we used to believe that men and women had different roles, that women were supposed to be at home raising the children. And now you're saying that treating women like people is treating them exactly the same as men, and that it doesn't matter who protects and provides, a woman can protect, because like how many scenarios are that going to happen? But ultimately we are different by design. God created us differently.
If a woman wants to avoid harm, what's like the number one thing she should do?
She should find a man who's going to be able to protect her.
Wrong. If a woman wants to avoid harm, she should be a lesbian, because the most likely person that's ever going to hurt you as a woman is your significant other. So you're defeated by the very thing you're saying. When you say men exist to protect women from who? Not from other women, it's from other men. So even your point doesn't make sense, right? It's not about treating women and men as equal. It's about granting them the same autonomy and letting them make the choices in society that are the healthiest for them, that they want to do the most. And when you leave these options up to women, then they start working more, they do other things, and your society gets better. Look at every single industrialized country in the world. One of the hallmarks of success is usually women getting to vote, women having access to reproductive control, and women working jobs. It's like the best thing for your economy.
Okay. If you think that, but
I mean, it's not that I think it, it's just, that's like the reality of the world. Every single successful country you're in, one of your biggest markers for economic development is whether or not women are working and have access to reproductive control, or are they just like slaves that are baby makers.
We're seeing all these countries that allow all this stuff and believe in all this feminist lie. We're seeing them all crumble in real time, and we're seeing them burn in the past couple of years. France is crumbling right now, one of the wokest countries in the world. 3 years ago, we saw all of America burn, cities burn because of all the BLM.
Yeah, so
look,
wait.
Countries where there's Sharia law.
Yeah.
Countries where there's Sharia law, and we say like, okay, not everything is up to the individual person based on whether they want to do it. There's some things that should be taboo, and we should not be allowed to do because it's better for everybody else. It's better because of basic morality. Those countries end up surviving. Those countries
end up surviving. The
countries with the top 3 lowest crime rates are all Middle Eastern countries.
That's
all
great.
Muslim countries.
And who invented the microprocessor? Who gave us YouTube and Facebook? Who landed on the moon? Who runs the world economy and world trade? Who dictates policy to every other free nation on the planet? Who donates more to, like, it's not countries with Sharia law. And those countries Sharia law can only do because they're sitting on mountains of oil, right? Like, you don't exist without the United States, and I don't either. And you're trying to give me this idea like, well, Sharia law is good because we can make some women wear hijabs, and that's your marker for success?
You're saying no, my marker for
also France has
marker of success is happiness.
France has a whole history of violent protests. That's what they do. They kill their kings, they set their shit on fire.
Has nothing to do. You see, you started bringing up all this and everything that happens to do with industrialized society and the invention of technology and trade. Like, that's not how I mark a happy society. The ultimate goal is happiness, right? Like these things that your technological developments and stuff like that, you could argue that it's actually hurt happiness quite a bit. That isn't the ultimate marker of success, and I didn't argue for that at all.
How are you finding happiness right now? You're getting on airplanes manufactured by Western technology, on your cell phone blogging, probably made by Apple or Google, it's uploading into social media networks that are ran by microprocessors, probably in an Amazon warehouse. Every single part of your life that you're enjoying right now, the women you can reach out to, the adventures you're having, all the learning that you're doing, this conversation you're having right now is built off of Western technology, not Sharia law.
All right, I use the technology that's here, but ultimately what makes me happy is my connection with God, is my relationships with people, is my relationships with my family.
Then go do ayahuasca in Brazil and go crawl into the jungle
ayahuasca
for 7
has
years
nothing
and
to do with it. That's some ayahuasca,
is that
all that
demonic
like
now
hippie
too?
stuff.
Okay.
That's the incest reality argument that you're making for. That's not what makes me happy. Those things obviously are fun and they give me access to people and I'm taking advantage of the industrialized society, but that's not what makes people happiest. It's connection with the higher power.
Okay. I mean, that is one aspect, but I mean, like, loving God while you're starving or you don't have a computer can kind of suck in some countries. I think that all of the things that modern technology affords us, I think is really cool. I think that, and not just cool in like a I'm browsing TikTok all day kind of way, but cool in that like if I'm on an episode of like Fresh and Fit with you, like that can only happen in the United States, right? You're some like Haitian immigrant, I'm like half Cuban, Myron is who the knows where, like all these different people are brought together by all the traveling, all the technologies, all the thing in the country that makes that possible. It's only happening in the United States, right? Even in Dubai, where all that shit is happening now, it's people from the US going there. Like,
should we legalize BC?
I don't know. I don't really care about bestiality. Is that all you think about is animals, or?
Well, I'm surprised on your take on that. The reason I bring it up is we're allowing so much sexual deviancy. We're starting to allow everything. And if you can't take a hard stance on that, then that changes my perception on your entire political view.
Yeah, I think you
So
should. I think it should be
if
illegal.
we started
I don't
to,
care.
I mean,
yeah.
you could deflect with humor, but
I'm not
if we-
deflecting. It should be. As long as we can kill and torture animals, I don't know why we can't fuck them. Yeah, I don't care. Go for it.
Okay, so bestiality should be legal in Destiny's
Yes.
ideal world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, and incest should be legalized.
I don't even know if incest is illegal. Most of the bad things that happen under incest
It
are
is.
already illegal. I don't think it is in every state.
There should be no punishment. Okay, how about not even legally? There should be no shame. That's one thing that I've noticed traveling the world is that there's an element of shame that keeps everything intact because people don't want to act. They don't want to pass these taboos that have been instilled by society. Do you think that there should be no shame for incest?
No, I think for incest, probably there should be. Yeah, because most incestual relationships are really bad.
What if it's like two consenting while they're healthy and they like doing it? It's just fun.
Then
for
they
them,
can
right?
go for it. I don't care. Just like how Muslims are okay with Muhammad a 9-year-old, I think that incest is probably not the biggest deal in the world. I don't. If it's like two twin brothers in college each other, they can go have fun with it.
You see how you justify some sort of sexual deviance and you equate it to consensual marriage.
I'm not thinking of like sexual deviance in some spiritual plane. Usually what I'm thinking about is like what is causing harm to society, what's minimizing harm to society, and what's maximizing their autonomy for the people. People should be allowed to make these choices and choose these things to do, make them happy as long as they're not hurting other people. I think that's generally how I view things. But if you're on some Sharia mindset or whatever right now, I can understand why you would want to make some forms of masturbation or incest or whatever illegal.